Robert Redford wanted to do this movie because his grandchildren are fans of Marvel, and he wanted them to see him in one. So Captain America, The Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. There is just something so special about this movie. I miss movies like this. I honestly miss Marvel movies when they were this high caliber. And I have three reasons why I love this movie, and my last reason is definitely my favorite. First reason I love this movie is the story, and then the overall themes and messages of the story and plot. It's a pretty serious movie, honestly. There are comedic moments thrown in throughout to kind of just, keep the movie going and balance it out, but for the most part, this is a pretty serious Marvel movie, a serious tone. I really just kind of like the concepts here of it's old America versus new America. As we know, Steve Rogers, old school. No matter what time period that he lives in, even if it is in modern day, his beliefs are still way back in the 40s. Like, he's still rooted deeply in the old school America, old school way of protecting people, and then he's clashing with Nick Fury, and he's clashing with S.H.I.E.L.D. and all these different ideas of how to protect people nowadays in a modern sense. Like I said, Captain America is my favorite Marvel character, and this is another big reason why, is because no matter how times change, no matter what new technology comes along, no matter what obstacles he's facing, organizations he's going up to, he's just so deep rooted in American values, the old American values, but the ones that are tried and true, the ones that can stand the test of time. Another theme I like is, we get a lot of politics in this one, very political. It's kind of like a political thriller, honestly. We get some politics thrown in there. We got Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce. Then he's got like a whole council of politicians who vote on different things, and just like the corruption and the side deals and shady contracts and all this stuff being used here, but it elevates the seriousness of the movie. It elevates kind of the things that Steve Rogers is going up against. There's just a lot of deep state stuff going on, and corruption and fear, using people's fear and using the Winter Soldier as kind of an excuse, as kind of a scapegoat for every political coup or whatever. But I gotta say, he's no joke. Like, Bucky is no joke. The Winter Soldier is the real deal, and I just love how it's not just like hype. It's not like, talk about the boogeyman or whatever. But when you see the boogeyman, he's for real. Like, he is. There's a reason why he's been feared. There's a reason why he's he's good at what he does. I mean, he just holds such fear in people's hearts, and and this is cool too. I thought this was interesting that even Natasha is scared of him. Like, Natasha, is from Russia, and she's dealt with a whole lot of stuff. Like, she's seen some crazy stuff in being an assassin. She's had to do some crazy things, but if Bucky can scare Natasha, then you're in trouble, because she's not really afraid of anything. Second thing I love about this movie is the characters. Sam Wilson, great addition. I think Anthony Mackie did a great job. I know it was Anthony Mackie's dream to be in a Marvel movie someday, and Kevin Feige offered him the role of Sam Wilson, and of course Anthony took it and just does a great job. I just kind of like he's got a lot of great things to offer, the story, but also just kind of the relationships going on there, especially with Cap. But the great thing I love about why they're so great together, Cap and Sam, is they both experienced war, they both experienced a lot of loss, and they're both trying to find their way back. And they can relate on so many different levels, and they just clicked right away from the start. How Steve really trusts Sam with his life, like, pretty quickly. A true testament to friendship right there. Sebastian Stan did an amazing job in here, just playing a guy who, brainwashed, kind of like Manchurian Candidate type of thing. I think his acting was really, really good in this movie. Just how he really took on the role of this just terrifying guy, this urban legend, if you will. But then also his interactions with Steve. Bucky was just such a cold, calculating guy. Like, he did not screw around 1 second. Natasha, can't go wrong with Scarlett Johansson. I always really liked this part of the movie. I know I may be reading into it a little bit, but I always felt like there's a little bit of chemistry between Steve and Natasha, and I was totally there for it. I don't know why I thought this, but in the comics I thought that they hooked up, but they didn't. But I know that they were just, being friends or whatever, but there were a couple moments I'm like, these guys actually really have good chemistry together. Like, they could really do some damage together and do some good together. It's whatever, it's your opinion, it's my opinion. If you think that she's flirting with Steve, if you think they would be great together as a couple, awesome. If you don't, they're just platonic friends, totally cool too. But I always just thought they were a little bit more than we were seeing. The action was amazing. This is the Marvel movie that really did not hold back its punches. I also read that there's CGI utilized in this movie, but I know the directors Joe and Anthony Russo wanted to keep the CGI not super prevalent. They want to keep it lower because they wanted to have that feel, that gritty feel, and just hand-to-hand combat. Just tons of explosions, shooting guns, just awesome fights. There's so many great fight scenes in this movie. The elevator scene, the highway scene. Anytime Bucky's on the scene, you know it's going to get crazy. The choreography in here is just, seriously, it's like top level. I've never seen a Marvel movie like this go this hard when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. And then my favorite scene in the movie is the highway fight scene from beginning to end. Car chase with Bucky jumping on the car and all these crazy moves he does, and then you got the amazing hand-to-hand combat scene between not only Black Widow but Steve. Cool knife flip that Bucky does. Just so many awesome moments in that fight scene. Just like I said, the action choreography in this movie was off the charts. It just really feels more visceral. It feels more real when we don't rely on CGI as much, and you just get real with it. You get, just hand to hand, like going at it. Two super soldiers going at it. So for Captain America, the Winter Soldier, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 Mudflaps. Remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. What was your favorite moment from Winter Soldier? See you next time.